I probably wouldn't believe myself if I told my 20-year-old self that I would drive an ambulance around America and be able to fix things that come up and be able to navigate. Like, if I told myself that, my younger self, like, this is what you'll be doing, I would say, no way. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And I feel a lot stronger as an individual knowing that I can work through things that come up that I maybe didn't think that I could have done before. So I lived in St. Thomas for 7 years, and I was a middle school and high school teacher. And I just felt like something was missing, right? Like I need to do something. I didn't necessarily want to stop being a teacher at that point, and I didn't necessarily want to leave St. Thomas, but I knew that I needed to shift, like something bigger was calling me. And so I asked the school for a sabbatical, and once I was granted that sabbatical, I started making plans for international travel. And fast forward, about a month after that was all kind of in the works, and COVID started stirring up. And so I just started reeling, like, what else can I do with this year? I don't want it to be for nothing. I still really have this passion and this drive to travel. I was kind of, didn't know what I would be able to do with the year I had off. And I started thinking about van life and exploring in that aspect. And so I came across this on eBay, and I bought it. And in 2 months, I grabbed it, I drove it back to essentially my parents' house and built it out. So it's been almost a year since I've been living in this rig. I just spent the year basically going down, like through Washington, down the coast into Arizona. When I lived in St. Thomas for 7 years, I would come back for holidays, but it would be mainly to Arizona or Iowa. And so everybody in between, unless they were visiting family or we came across each other in passing, I didn't get to catch up with a lot of my friends. And so last year was really the time that I caught up with a lot of, long lost buddies. I'm an artist and I'm a passionate teacher about the arts. And so I am driving forward, literally, with art and soul. It's my company that I'm creating for corporations and large groups of people that incorporates art and movement. So whether it's art and yoga, art and breath work, art in any kind of movement possible to focus in on different areas of your body that hold creativity components, and to really inspire you in the workforce for leadership and creativity. I think a lot of people have taken a step back and wanted to look at their lives and look at what they're doing and switch things up. Maybe they want to travel more. Maybe they want to create more. Maybe they want to spend more quality time with their family. And these are all just tools in order to make that happen. Creativity doesn't have to be just what we consider art. It doesn't have to be painting. Creativity is anything. It's problem solving. It's working things out. And so I really want to start inviting people to take a look internally at themselves, and then hopefully be inspired to then take that either into the workforce, into their home, into their, maybe daily personal lives. Grandma asked me if I would want to take her on a trip. She wanted to first go to the West Coast, and then she asked me if I would take her on a trip to return a quilt to some of our family members that she never met, and I thought that sounded like a fun idea. So I was able to scoop her up, and here we are.
Well, this is a quilt that my mother's cousins made. Now I want to give it back to that side of the family. We have not kept up with them over the years. And so we got to go looking for some. We'll see. We'll see South Dakota.
And how are we gonna find them?
So we're gonna go to the church for one, I think, and just see what we can get for information from there.
Traveling with Grandma, she's a solo lady and she's still adventurous and wants to do fun things, and so two solo women just cruising down the road.
Arguing along the way.
No arguing, but she does like to check me with her atlas. She checks my Google Maps with her atlas quite often, and she's usually right. I think Grandma's a badass. I think it's really cool that Grandma wanted to do this. Even if it's just a short trip, I think it's really great.
Yeah, I don't know if I could keep up with a long trip or not, but it's been good.
Grammy's feisty. She's a feisty lady and she does what she wants. She knows what she wants.
I'm pretty much on my own, and I like that freedom too. Maybe Jana got some of that from me, I don't know, but I think I'm a person that can go by it themselves, whether easier than a lot of people. I didn't know how this not having a husband around would be, but I kind of like I can do, like she said, I can get up when I want to and go when I want to.
I think it's important to know that it's never too late. I just think it's really special to spend this time with you too.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
So thanks for picking me.
Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you. First name again?
I'm Vera Golightly, and I'm Henrietta Lentz's
Henrietta.
daughter.
Aunt Henrietta, Dad used to call her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was she from?
We did get the quilt delivered, and I was really glad that we could, and I was really glad that we got to meet some of the relatives that we never knew. And the one relative that I remembered from a kid when I was 7 years old,
came, and she remembered my name. She wouldn't have known me either, but she was surprised when she found out she was talking to me, to Vera Lee, and I was just thrilled that we got to meet 3 of the relatives, and they were tickled to get the quilt. Well, the original cousin, this Kenneth that we met, was going to give it to his sister, and I think they thought that would be a good place for it. I was very satisfied with the whole thing. I just liked it.
I didn't think we'd pull it off. I thought there was no way. When we looked up people's names, we couldn't find it. We were gonna go to this town, this population of 450 people. Not a chance. Every number we tried to call didn't go anywhere. And then we got a hold of the church, which I had never thought of. And then that spiraled it. And all of a sudden we had 10 people sitting around the quilt. So it's been really interesting with family. Some people are really supportive, and some people are like, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? You quit your job, you are in an ambulance, you're traveling around by yourself, it's unorthodox. I think now that I've lived in it for a year, a lot of my family has come around. My parents weren't fazed at all. Actually, my dad was the person that, when I started talking about vans, he sent me the link for this ambulance. When my dad was in college, him and his brother skated across the United States. They started in California and they skated all the way to Washington, D.C. And my mom drove a van with a camper behind it for them. And so they all went together. So when I told them that I was doing this, they obviously weren't fazed and fully supportive. Grandma was on the fence, right? I think she thinks it's really fun and exciting. She also went and did a lot of traveling in her younger years, but also a little bit of a homebody. So kind of those same questions that come up, like, what are you gonna do and how are you gonna sustain yourself? But also having those deeper conversations with her and like, if you were younger, would you have done this? And what would it have looked like? And it's crazy to think that like I can do this now, right? And if I was my grandma at my age, it would have blown everybody out of the water. Like that was unheard of. That's only 2 generations ago, where this is like a no-brainer. There's so many solo female travelers right now, but there were none during those times, or very, very few. I shouldn't say none. Talking to some of the older women, they're like, man, I wish I could have done this. And I think my grandma's at that point, like, this is really cool. And so much so that she came with me on a trip in the Jambulance and had a great time, and just, to the point where she didn't want to go home. Well, this is Lou. He's a great companion to travel with. Poor little Lou, actually, he was found in Iowa, and my dad rescued him. He had a toe amputated because he got caught in a fence or something, and so my dad convinced me to come and grab him. This is back when I lived in a house in Iowa. And so shortly after that, I took off and moved to St. Thomas. Lou came with me, and he's been a traveler ever since. So Lou has been to a lot of the United States. He traveled back with me when I first picked up the ambulance, and we camped out of the back of it until we built it out, and then traveled through all the states. He's the best travel companion ever. Big old fat Lou.
Good morning.
This year I have learned a lot about myself, and mostly the unraveling of who I thought I was. When I take away that I'm a teacher, or when I take away that I'm an instructor of yoga, or I like art, or all those things, like all those titles, and I deconstruct that, like who do I really become? And I still do catch myself getting caught up with other people's expectations, or even my own expectations of where I should be as, you know, a young woman in my 30s. Really releasing the expectations and the ego that go along with that. I've also found that I'm a lot stronger than I thought that I was. In my past lives and versions of myself, I've been a very anxious individual. And so trying to look at that anxiety and how I process it, how it comes up, and how to deal with it when it comes up has been a really beautiful unraveling in the last year. The most I've learned this year is that I can do things I never thought I could do, that I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. I think I'm very resilient, honorable, honest, hardworking, trustworthy, a peacekeeper, adventure seeker, a beautiful person. I think we're all just meant to travel in some capacity. You know, a lot of people say things like, I wish I could do that, and you can, everybody can. So it's just about putting your mind to something and then actually, you know, taking the steps to do so. It feels comfortable. It feels so comfortable to just have your space wherever you go, to jump in and take off when you don't want to be somewhere anymore, and to have like the flexibility and luxury of having this type of lifestyle. And I do feel empowered by that. Really, we're not promised anything. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the next second. So in my mind, I just keep thinking, you know, what am I waiting for? For me, I want to try to release as much as possible because, you know, when I'm gone, like this is just stuff. So I'd rather have memories and meet up with people and explore new things, because time is fleeting, and, you know, if we're just like this speck of dust in this big picture, then, you know, what are we waiting for?